Hey everyone, thanks for joining me in another video. Today I'm going to be showing you my updated everyday carry, also known as an EDC. These are all the items that I carry on me typically day to day. I haven't updated this in a while. In fact, it's been almost 3 months because, to be honest, my EDC doesn't really change all that much. I mean, some of the items kind of rotate in and out, and I'll swap out one knife for another, one flashlight for another, and so on. But the core basics of what I carry from day to day really don't change that much. I've kind of settled into what I like, the tools that I find useful. I've kind of eliminated over the last couple years things that don't really fit in with what I need on a day-to-day basis, and this is pretty much what I've arrived at. So I try not to put an EDC update too often. I think when I first started my YouTube channel, I was saying something like I'm going to put one up every week or every 2 weeks, and it might be kind of fun just to take a quick glance, but I've found that really, since the overall assortment doesn't change all too much, there's not really much point in me just putting a new video ad nauseum. So I'll just really put a new update when I kind of add in a couple significant items, or maybe just to show you that nothing really has changed all that much. And so that's kind of what you see before you here. I'll kind of briefly go over everything and kind of let you know how everything's been working out. Some of these things I don't think I've reviewed, and I'll have a review on them soon. A lot of the items that you see before you I have already reviewed, so if you're interested in some of these, go ahead and look through some of the older videos on my channel, and you'll probably see a more detailed depiction of any given item here. So real quick, let me go over just my keyring first of all. And you know what, like I always do, I start to grab something, then I'll start going off on a tangent. Let me explain to you real quick before I do go into detail on this. For those of you who this comes up on every video, and I'll just throw out that little caveat real quick, I'm going to show you a couple extra knives. I do not carry multiple knives at any given time. I just happen to have other knives that'll kind of cycle in or out of my EDC rotation, and I'm going to show you some of those, but it does not mean that I'm carrying those all at the same time. Same with my multi-tool, same with the pry bar and my keys. Those change out, but it doesn't mean that I'm carrying more than one at once. I know some people are very interested in that sort of what do you call it, redundancy. I just haven't felt much need for it. I think I carry enough tools across, my knife, on my keys, my multi-tool, to where I usually have a little bit of redundancy anyway, so I don't really feel the need to carry 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 knives. If you do, that's awesome, and I totally support it. I don't think that we should pick on one another or try and tear apart our little differences in the things that we carry. I think we should all just appreciate that it's we're all focused on enjoying these little tools that these companies make available to us, and we just have a lot of fun trying out the variety of it. And I think we should support each other, even if what someone else carries isn't exactly what we're interested in, as I've mentioned in the past. So moving right along, this is my keyring. I took my keys off just to kind of pare it down to what actually stands out of my keys as far as tools go. I've got a couple house keys and a couple car keys, but I'll leave those off. And so what you see before you here are my Gerber Chard Pry Bar. And this is actually, it's a great tool, and I think that a lot of people are going to find a lot of use for this. This is probably one of my least favorite pry bars, but I do like to carry it now and then because it is still a good tool. It's just not my favorite one. And to be honest, my favorite pry bar is in fact the EOD Robotics Micro Wiggy Bar. I'm thinking about trying one of these in the flat. There's a flat model. This one's got a little bit of a bend to it. But I find that this covers all my needs. All I really need out of my pry bar is to scrape. And that's pretty much what I'll use it for. A little bit of prying, pull up some staples. Might have to wedge it in between a couple things at a time and kind of pry between them. But typically I use it to scrape, and this one seems to serve that purpose nicely. It doesn't take up a lot of space. It doesn't have a lot of pointy little areas on it like the Chard does and some other brands do, and it's of a good length. So this is my preference, but I do like to change things up. I do like a little variety, so on occasion I will carry the Gerber Chard, and that's what I've got on my keys today. And then the other tool that you see here is of course the Swisstech Utilikey. Now, to be perfectly honest, this has not found too much use lately. Really the main thing that I use off of the Utilikey is the Phillips screwdriver that you see at the end there. Other than that, I tend to use the tools that are on my multi-tool. I use the knife blade on my EDC knife rather than the little half serrated, half plane edge blade that comes on the Utilikey. And probably the only other tool on here that gets a lot of use from me is the little mini flathead or slotted driver that's at the end. It's like an eyeglass size driver, and I find that that does work actually to tighten the little joints on my sunglasses that I wear. The bottle opener in here doesn't get used that often, although it does work quite well, and that's pretty much it. I mean, those two little drivers get used every once in a while, but it's just one of those tools that's just become sort of a standard of my everyday carry, and it's so small and convenient that I can't help but bring it, even when I tell myself, you don't use it all that much. I'm still going to bring it because it takes up pretty much no space and it weighs so little. That is connected on the Lucky Line Twisty keyring. I just did a review of this just a little while ago. You can see I'm kind of putting it into a little figure 8 shape to open and close it. This has been working out well. It's very secure, and it makes a nice alternative to folks who are not interested in the Flexo lock from Lucky Line, and they think that if you're worried that that one might not be very secure and you want to try something else, go for this one instead. See if you like it. Got a couple Nite Ize size 0 plastic S-Biners attached to a Nite Ize size 3 S-Biner. And I get a lot of questions about this, especially on my Instagram account. For those of you who don't know, I do have an Instagram account. It goes by the same name, ItsAWonderfulKnife. But a lot of times, almost every time I post an EDC photo, someone asks me about the little piece that they see. It looks like a piece of tape in a lot of my photos. This is shrink tubing, and I don't know if I've mentioned it in past videos. I believe I have, but maybe it's been a few months. It's just one small little, 1 inch or 3/4 inch segment of shrink tubing. I've slid it down onto one end of the S-Biner, closed the gate, and then slid it back up the other end, heated it with a heat gun. You could probably also use a hairdryer or a soldering iron, and in just a couple seconds that thing gets bonded on there. It stays locked on and it's not going anywhere. Now the downside is that you cannot open this gate of the S-Biner once it's on, but of course, because I also have my keys attached using the two size 0 S-Biners, I can still remove everything using those and remove from the larger S-Biner that way, or if I so choose, I can also open the Lucky Line keyring that I use to remove items from my keys. And then the top portion is open, and this slips onto my belt loop above my back right pocket. So a lot of people say, do you put that on there because it's opened on you in the past? And I always say no. I've actually never had any of my S-Biners open when I didn't want them to. But as I always mentioned on my Instagram, this was just something that I was trying. It was just sort of a proof of concept for myself. I was trying to come up with an idea for a way to keep it closed that looked a little bit, classy, didn't look very messy, that was nice and secure, was cheap and easy, and this is what I came up with. And I see that actually a few other people have also arrived at the same idea. I think it's pretty obvious if you've had any experience with using a little bit of shrink tubing and you look at this dilemma, as it were. It's a pretty simple solution to arrive at, to put a little piece of this on there. And it does work quite well, and though I've never had any problems with my S-Biners opening, once I put it on there I kind of liked the little bit of embellishment, and I liked a little bit of the added security. Since I have a couple other options to remove the items from the keyring, I decided to keep that on there. And that's why going forward you will probably almost always see one of these on my keyring. So that is that. This here is the Cold Steel Inferno pepper spray. I forget the size of this one. This is sort of their I think this is the second smallest size before you get down to the pen-sized spray, and I've never had to use it. Hopefully I never will, as I always like to mention. That is attached to a little bit of paracord, and that is also on a size 3 S-Biner. Now some people say, when you have this on your belt loop, or if you have this attached to something, aren't you worried that it's going to be difficult to remove and use if you need to call it into action? The way I have the paracord fused on here, it is very simple to just break it open right away. I won't show you, but the fuse point on here is not very aggressive at all, and I have tested this in the past. So with one quick pull, even though this is attached to my belt loop, this will pop right off, and this will be in my hand and ready to use. This might not work for everyone. To some people that might seem a little bit slow, a little bit unsafe. I haven't had any need to use it, and typically if I feel like I'm in a situation where this might come in handy, if I'm in if I'm in a parking lot or something and it's late at night and I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable, this is already in my hand, and I recommend that for anybody that has pepper spray and wants to keep it handy. If you are in a situation where you feel you might need to use it, get it in your hand and have it already ready to go, rather than wait until the last second. But even if I did have to, I'm confident that the paracord will pop quickly and I'll be able to retrieve this without any trouble. My phone is the Google LG Nexus 4. I've had this for almost a year now. Still really happy with this phone. About one of the only things I don't like about it is the battery life. And I wish that the battery life was a little bit better. It seems to drain pretty quickly. The phone is comfortable. I like the way the Android Software works. I've been happy with the instant updates from Google, and I've been enjoying using that phone. I do like the iPhone. I haven't decided what to do for my next phone. I'm kind of getting that little itch, that urge to try a new phone, so I might move on to something else pretty soon. I know there's a new, Google's got the new Motorola Moto X coming out, or it's already out, I'm not sure. That's kind of interesting. I might look into that, but you know, for now this has been working out, and it's been more than enough phone for me. Processing wise, it's been great. Flashlight that you see here is the EDC LM21 from Lumapower. It's got three different brightnesses on it: low, medium, and high. And this is a forward clicky, and it does have momentary on. I do like this light. I find the button a little bit squishy. That little button seems like it could have been a little bit stiffer. Nice and small. This is a AAA size light. I think the brightest lumens on here are around 80 lumens or 90 lumens, somewhere in that arena. And that one's been working out well for me. I do switch that out with another flashlight very often. I've also got an Olight i3S that I've been using. The old classic QTLC from 4.7s, which is one of my favorite lights. I've been really happy with this one. So that one gets switched out. My light changes on a daily basis. My knife. This is the Spyderco Techno. I received this as a birthday gift from my wife a few weeks ago, and I have been absolutely delighted with this knife. I think that it's a really cool design, and I think that for its size, it is tremendously short, at least compared to most knives that I carry. This is definitely on the small size for blade length and overall size, but because of the thickness of the blade, these nice stout and thick titanium liners, and just the overall build, the ruggedness of it, I think that this is an excellent knife and is actually really well suited for hard use. I think that, you know, if you had some heavier duty tasks or some all-day cutting, I think that this knife would serve you well. This uses CTS XHP steel, and you will very likely see a review from me on this soon. But overall, I've been really happy. One quick little preview I'll give you of that review is that one thing I've noticed is that when I put this knife in my pocket, this little squared off portion is cut out, which actually makes it possible to fold the lock bar out of the way without too much trouble. It's very square. So if I can show you that edge there, this portion is really squared off. As you go to slip this into your pocket, on my pocket, this snags almost every single time. So I have to be conscious of this little notch out here. As I push this into my pocket, I kind of squirm it to get it to sit all the way down, otherwise it'll almost always snag on that little corner right there on my pocket. Not a big deal, and it's probably the only downside that I've found. It's a little bit slower to open than my other knives. I don't flick it open. I probably can. In fact, I know I can, but I don't like to. Because of the size of it, I'm just a little bit more comfortable opening it slower. And I think that the design is a little bit less conducive to flicking than some of the larger knives. And I don't know, as time goes on, I flick my knives less and less. It's got a good weight to it, good chunky size. Can you get all 4 fingers on it? I can, and I've got medium to large hands, at least in a glove size. But typically, you know, the way that you're going to put your hands on it, my pinky is kind of hanging off the back end a little bit. It's half on, half off, but still very comfortable. So I've been really excited and happy to be carrying this knife. I really like the design, and I think that that one's going to become a favorite. Actually, it's already become a favorite. I've been really happy to carry it, and I'll probably be carrying it off and on for years and years to come. Wallet is the Big Skinny. I kind of want to do a follow-up video on this to just go into a couple little details now that I've been carrying it for over a year. One of the things that I have found out about this wallet that I was pretty disappointed about, and I just noticed this, and surprise, surprise, this is right after the 1-year warranty from Big Skinny expires, but I took everything out of here for privacy purposes. The back of the wallet here, actually a lot of the pockets inside the wallet are lined with a thin layer of rubber, and that's to keep it grippy so that the items in here don't fall out. But I was very disappointed to find the other day that when I was looking in the furthest back pocket, and I hadn't noticed this before, I just noticed it the other day, the rubber lining in the back has all cracked through. So I don't know if that's going to affect the overall durability of the actual wallet itself. You know, and it might just be because I carry this wallet underneath my tool belt at work all day long, and I never take my wallet out of my pocket. When I'm at work, a lot of people take it out, put it away in a work bag or a locker or something. I carry mine in my pocket no matter what I'm doing. Even when I'm walking through the brush outdoors, it's still there. But I was pretty disappointed to see that rubber had cracked away and has split. It still holds everything in there fine. It's just kind of a bummer that it, you know, that part started to split away, and I wonder how long before the rest of it will begin to wear. Other than that, it's been holding up pretty well, and I've been happy with it overall. I just can't say, you know, once that starts to go, we'll see how long it is before everything else starts to go. Other than that, I love the thinness of it, and I love the comfort of it. And if you're not an all-day wallet wearer, or if you don't have occasion to carry it during, you know, a lot of climbing and hiking and that sort of thing, you might not run into that same problem. I can't say for sure. But that I didn't notice until right about the 1-year mark, and now I'm past my warranty. So I don't think I'll be getting this replaced or repaired. So I'll just stick with it for a while longer and see how she holds up. The multi-tool you see here is the Leatherman SideClip. This is long discontinued from Leatherman. I think they haven't made these for a few years now. And this is actually one of my favorite multi-tools. I've mentioned it in other videos. It's one of the older style. It's an all stainless steel construction. And it's got a handful of tools in here. It doesn't have a lot of the newer bells and whistles like the replaceable bits and drivers that you see on the newer models. Got a couple flathead drivers there. We've got the you know, nice clip point blade that is sharpens up beautifully. I'm not sure of the steel. I think it's a 420 series, but it sharpens up very well. And then on the other side, you've got one more flathead driver, a little mini, full-size Phillips, and then a bottle / can opener. And then you've got on the outside, and all the tools are closed or tucked away. They're, you know, not accessible when the tool is closed up. You can't reach anything. But I like the overall design. I love the sleekness of it. This is very similar to the old PST, the Personal Survival Tool, which was the first Leatherman released. And my favorite part of this, of course, is the pocket clip, which is very secure, nice and thick, very rugged design overall, holds together really well. And just this has just been a classic for me. I hadn't been carrying this for a while, and all of a sudden I just kind of had this resurgence of wanting to carry it again. So I've been carrying that one quite often. I've been swapping that out a little bit with the Juice S2, and then what you see here, which is the Leatherman Skeletool CX, which is another really nice Leatherman that I like. This one is pretty small. It's like a lightweight. I think it's about 5.5 ounces. But the durability and the overall build of it makes it feel a lot more like a heavier duty or a full-size Leatherman. So this is another one I've been carrying. But the side clip has been getting the most pocket time lately, so I put that one on display here. Finally, I have my watch. I get a lot of compliments and a lot of comments about this on Instagram as well. This is just a basic Casio Ca-53W. It's a pretty simple little calculator watch. For those of you that were around in the 80s, you probably saw one of these, or at least you envied the kids who had one of these. I know I did. And you can still buy these. So a lot of people mention this, and I think that they don't realize that this is still available. Casio still sells this. You can pick these up at probably Walmart, Kmart, you know, basic department stores, and they'll run you about anywhere from $12 to $20. So very inexpensive, nice little watch, just kind of fun, and the calculator is quite functional. So for those of you who might have need for that, if you're trying to calculate a tip or something, you've got a little calculator on there. No extra bells and whistles, no lights or anything, but I think it's a fun little design, and I do like having a watch on me when I can remember to wear one. And then finally, one other thing I'll show you real quick is the Spyderco Superleaf. This is another recent purchase. I did already make a video on this one, showing it when it first came in. But this is the other knife that I've been carrying along with the Techno very often. So I've got a bunch of knives I've been carrying, but this one has seen the most pocket time besides the Techno over the last month or so. Beautiful design, super thick blade, absolutely outstanding. For those of you who like the paramilitary too, and you're kind of looking for the next thing, if you want something that's similar, I know that this little horn, this little hook at the end of the handle is going to throw some of you off, but I promise you, get one of these and try it, and you're going to love it. This really is sort of, for me anyway, this really is the bigger brother to the paramilitary too. A little bit heftier, a little bit more stout, but every bit as functional, and it just, that extremely thick blade and that, you know, beautiful compression lock that Spyderco uses just give me every confidence in it, and this is absolutely a hard use knife. I would recommend this for some of your heavier duty tasks, all day cutting, outdoor activities. This would be an excellent choice. And that again is the Spyderco Superleaf. So that's pretty much it. Like always, this went on for a really long time, but this is my everyday carry, as it's been for the past several weeks or months. Obviously a few things swap out here and there, but this is the core set of items that I like to carry. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks for coming along. Bye.